Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Medicare Cafe. I have with me today a face you probably haven't seen in some time.
Been a while.
Been a little bit.
Yeah.
So we have Miss Sadie, and it's not Frazier. I always want to say Frazier. You haven't been Sadie Frazier in a long time.
I know, I haven't been Sadie Frazier in a long time. And I still almost say it sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, this
So
is
I
Sadie
have a
Palmer.
pink necklace to remind me.
It's like, wait. So welcome, Sadie. Sadie has been with the cafe. You've been here 4 years?
5 years.
5 years?
This summer.
So actually for nobody asked for this history report, but Sadie actually used to work in a different department completely, still in the sales team, but like a completely different department. And 5 years ago, I think you were still part-time at that time, or were you full-time?
I had just gone full-time.
Just gone full-time.
For a couple months
And
in my new position.
She had made, in brand new position, and she had made a beautiful video, just internal to show our team something, and I said, that one's mine. And they stole her. And then 2 weeks later, I said, by the way, I'm pregnant. You're going to have to run the training and education team.
Yes.
And she said, great. And 5 years later, here we are.
Yay.
So there's a history lesson no one asked for, but you got it anyways. You know why? Because it's Medicare Cafe pre-chat. If you're sitting here and you're like, I don't want to hear the funny ladies talk. I just want to get down to business and talk about Medicare and technology.
Why are you here?
Why?
One, wrong show.
Honestly, that's on you. If you're watching the recorded version of this, you can just skip forward another 2 minutes. We do go live at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're watching the recorded version of this and you're just like, this is chaos, I don't want to be a part of this, again, wrong show. But you can fast forward a little bit. If you want to communicate and talk to us during the show as well, that is my cell phone number. You can text me at any time. I do try to answer, within the same hour. So text that if you're just like, nuh-uh, she's lying. Text it, try me. Even last week, I'm really like,
Try me.
Try me. Last week I was at Devoted. I was in Boston attending Devoted's rollout, which if you're interested to learn more about Devoted, we're doing a webinar on them on Thursday. But I was during the show with Carrie and Clayton. I was getting text messages. I was like, oh, I'm still included. Even though I'm in
Did
Boston.
you reply?
I did. I was like, I'm still included. People still want to be my friends.
Oh, good.
So, okay. So while we still have pre-chat, because we are still in pre-chat for one more minute, I have to bring something up. I'm going a lot this morning.
I've
had so much caffeine.
I love it.
So I was told by our fine people in marketing, Alex, who's our videographer, and of course Ben, who's another behind the scenes. He makes all this happen.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, he's also on from time to time.
He's on. And he's really active in the Facebook group. So everybody knows Ben. Alex is the guy who makes the magic happen behind the camera. And I was talking to them this morning. They said, hey, we know Clayton's not here. Carrie's not here. Ben has a cough or something like that. He goes, in case you're by yourself, what I need you to do is you need to up the energy, up the ante. And I said, because that's a problem.
Right.
And then they said, just so you know, our videos perform better when you talk about conspiracy theories. One of our best we have a few videos that are really well performing. One of them is the one when I started the rumor that that's another one that Steve Irwin, that Steve Irwin was not dead. He was actually in Canada.
Right.
So that one, they said that the analytics, because YouTube tries to if you like this video, you'll like that video.
Yeah.
We ended up
the conspiracy theory people.
They were sending our videos to conspiracy theory period. And so there was one, and there was the future of MedSeps or something like the future of MA. Because those are conspiracy based.
Oh my gosh.
So if we just say conspiracy enough, our views will go up because we'll be amongst the flat earthers. We'll be amongst the real conspiracies. So if you can think of one, I would love to know if anybody can think of a really good conspiracy theory. Text it to me.
Let me tell you right now. Can I tell you mine?
Tell me.
This is my favorite.
I probably was really uncomfortable and loud.
The only other people that really can get on board with this is Clayton.
Okay.
And then Kayla, another girl that works with us. But I have a theory that hamsters run on wheels to make airport escalators go. And whenever they're not running, it's because they're on break.
So, just to be clear, you believe, are you talking about escalators or the walking paths?
Either one, I think.
So, there is a floor or stair that is moving in an airport. Is it exclusive to airports?
Yes.
Okay.
I just decided that right now.
So if there is a airport that has either the walking path that
Mhm.
moves or an escalator, so basically an elevated walking path,
Mhm.
then those are hamsters.
Those are hamsters. And then whenever they stop, it's because they go on break. They need breaks too.
Okay.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, probably? That's not like something you read, like that's something that came from your brain?
No, that came from the heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wrong. So, okay, in case you didn't know, Steve Jobs and Steve Madden and also Steve Carell and Steve Irwin. Why couldn't I think of Irwin?
Name all the
They're
Steves.
all in, my Uncle Steve, they're all in Canada. And hamsters are actually the real heroes at airports.
So anyway.
Welcome to the Medicare Cafe. Today we are discussing technology and the warning labels that come with technology. And the main reason I want to talk about this is because, again, technology can make or break you. I am 100%, you have to be. If you were, 2020 moved our organization into not even the future, just made it get caught up. And by our industry.
Right.
Because e-applications, non-face-to-face appointments, use of the internet machine, all of that really kicked up a notch in 2020 due to COVID-19 and social separation. But we were like the last industry to get there.
Right.
So
naturally, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, like you said, I think it wasn't even that we boosted for. We did, but it was like we finally just caught up with the rest. It forced everybody to use the technology that people have been saying forever, you need to be using this.
And what happened after that, now that, like, again, agents started adopting it, consumers, 65ers love it. Mm-hmm. They expect it. They get weirded out when you don't include it. Then we got this really cool thing that happened to where tech industry started investing in our industry and saying, how can we, how could they profit off it? How could we do more with it? So we're seeing a huge influx recently of technology in our industry. And it's really cool, but it's not, I'm not going to say it's not for everyone but it is, but it's just like you have to be smart about it. And we have seen some significant people take steps back because of technology.
Well, you can go overboard, right? It's like with anything. And some people are really, really naturally techie. They love to do all that stuff. And you can add so much tech sometimes that it overcomplicates everything. But if you're still in the place where you think that, I'll just do everything by paper and that's going to be the most efficient, we're just living in a different world than that.
And again, like, and for things like that, we'll talk about e-apps. I think it's actually my first one. No. We'll talk again, e-applications, removes the headaches. There will become a time where you will work with some clients that are like, I don't get that fancy stuff. Like, we're talking like the 76 plus, maybe the 72 plus, right? But again, like you're working with people in that demographic. It's not gonna be for everybody, but it is gonna be for the clientele that you want, right? You don't want to cater to the clientele that is an aging clientele. You want to cater to the clientele that you want. And so utilizing this technology is huge for that.
Well, I think that one big mistake, I think just in general for insurance agents is assuming. Yeah. And technology is one of those things where it's like, don't just assume that because they're of a certain age, they don't want to, or because you don't see them using a smartphone or something like that. Yeah. You never know. You might teach them this once and they're like, oh yeah, this is so much easier. So don't assume that just because you work with an older demographic means that you can't use technology or they're resistant to it.
Well, keep in mind, baby boomers were the demographic whenever they were surveyed by, it wasn't Deft. Deloitte. I want to say Deloitte, but it's not that. It's like Deloitte. Deloitte, thank you.
I have a friend that works for Deloitte.
Do you actually?
I do.
You have really smart friends.
Well,
my friends work here.
It's my husband's friends.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Your husband's okay.
I'm married into it, so.
I was really insulting to you. Totally on accident.
No. No, I know my place. I know my place.
So, I couldn't even say it. So, like, you're above me. So, this research company did, again, they really studied the baby boomer demographic because obviously they're the richest demographic we've ever had in our nation. So, they're trying to look at buying, purchasing practices of the baby boomer demographic, and they were the number one demographic that valued convenience over anything else compared to any other generation. And so that's what technology brings. And that's what this point here is on this slide. E-applications, streamlined appointment processes, and advertising, ability to take more clients without the worry of travel. That comes down to convenience, streamlining, and efficiency. So there is a ton of reason why you should. This isn't a webinar to try to convince, a webinar, it's not even a webinar, it's a YouTube Live. But it's not trying to convince you to use technology. That's a given. I want to give you warnings of like when you do this, be aware of that.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's start with the first one. The tech barrier. We talk about this a ton during our 8-step selling process, but what a lot of people, especially if they're using a laptop or something like that, when they're actually doing an e-application or the enrollment, a physical screen, whether it be your laptop or you're writing something down, creates an actual barrier between you and the consumer. And if you're typing away while they're talking or things like that, and they can't see your screen, it creates a little bit like animosity, a little bit of like, what are they saying about me? What's on the screen? Are they actually paying attention to me?
Yes.
Like, it's like somebody talking and you're doing my husband.
Right.
You talk. He doesn't know the people at Deloitte. But you're talking to them and they're just texting away. Like, it does. It creates like even like a little sheer of disrespect. And you really want to make sure that you avoid that in your appointment process when you're trying to build a relationship.
You know, I find this one really interesting because this would probably be the number one warning, I would say, for it. But
it was the number one
warning. But it is literally the number one warning. But it's not one that people think of. Like, it's not, but it really is. Like, I think of sometimes whenever I walk into a place to I walk up to an admin person at the front desk and I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do, where do I check in, all that sort of stuff. And, you know, I'm telling them whatever I need to tell them and they're just like typing on a computer, or I'm giving them my information that I need to and they're typing on the computer and I'm like, are you even listening to me?
It's just so
Are you
impersonal.
waiting? Yes, it is. And there's like no communication of I'm just typing this in, go ahead, like I'm listening.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
So I'll tell you what, good example of that, completely unrelated, but like going into like this AEP, you know, training your admin stuff. This has nothing to do with technology. But yesterday, my husband and I had to do an interview with the local radio station to go over our charity that we have coming up. No one solved that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you
our charity. We actually are selling tumblers. No, our charity for the foundation we started. And the front admin person, their front receptionist, you know, usually you're in those situations, you're sitting in the waiting room and they're working because like you're just in their waiting room. They're just working. She got up from her chair. She offered us the water and coffee like they do. She got up from her chair and she talked to us and told us about her morning, was asking us what we were doing, asking us about our event. Like, and it literally just like put us at ease, gave us a great experience. The interview itself was like 5 minutes, not even. Yeah. But we were there for a total of 10 to 15 minutes and she was a huge part of that. So like, yeah, when people are busy doing this and not giving that human experience, that's huge.
Well, it like takes away the hosting aspect, right? Like it takes away, it's like, yes, you have a job to do, but your other half of the job is to be hosting them and making them feel welcome. And that's exactly what she did. Yeah. She didn't forget about the hosting aspect of her job.
Just
and she got away from the or, you know, got out from behind the computer.
Physically got out from behind it.
Yes, exactly.
So some of the things you can do, but one thing that we like to say is because we do need technology, you do need to put notes in your CRM. You do need to put that. 2 things I recommend. Number 1, if you're a note taker, what I do really recommend is you take notes either on a physical piece of paper with your client or like on an iPad. Like I use an iPad with an iPad pencil because then you can just translate your notes into actual text, but then you enter in those notes in the CRM later. Don't use enter in the notes into the CRM as they're going. And 2, use a mirrored screen. So like if you're on one side of the desk and they're on the other side, then have 2 screens and have them mirror so that they can see everything that you're doing, especially if you're doing an e-app. So that way it accomplishes a lot of things, but it kind of puts them at ease because they see what you're doing. But when you're asking them questions about their height and their weight, asking their bank information, it's you obviously filling out a form and they're a part of the process versus a physical screen being in between you guys.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't just keep them from being excluded in the process. It literally invites them into it. Yes. Like they feel like they are part of this rather than they're just spitting out answers and you're just typing.
Away. Just takes the human out of it. Yes, text should not replace. Text should streamline. It shouldn't replace. Don't let it replace human interaction. The second major warning that we have when it comes to tech is more technical, but it is It is the security and the hacking. That it's really easy to get hacked. It's really easy for phishing schemes, really easy. And it's important for you guys to be conscious of that because you're dealing with HIPAA sensitive information. So if your information gets compromised, if your email gets hacked, if your computer gets hacked, if you lose your computer and it doesn't have a two-way authentication, so like a thumbprint with a password or face recognition or something like that.
Right.
If that computer gets lost and it has client data on it, you're supposed to alert every single carrier that your data has been compromised, and those carriers are supposed to submit letters to every client you have on the books. So it is a huge deal that you have things encrypted using like a McAfee service or something like that. You have things double two-way authentication to make sure that you are able to not, if somebody does steal your phone, steal your computer, that there's no way they can get access to the content on there. And then like phishing, right? So do you want to explain like what phishing is?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've all gotten those emails. A lot of times they go to our junk, but sometimes they make it to our actual inbox. They are emails from a spammer. They look really real. They tell you to click on a link or text a number with this information or something like that. And they're really hackers that are pretending to be someone else. Now, these sound, a lot of times you can look at these and be like, okay, yeah, obviously delete. But they're getting to be very, very intelligent now.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like we will get emails, even like in our organization, we will get emails where it's Joanne, our president, saying like, hey, will you text me with this information? I need you real quick.
Yeah.
Like you have to be diligent about that sort of stuff and double check. There are plenty of ways in which you can do that. If you guys want to call our office, we can talk about that all day because we deal with it all day. But yeah, phishing is they're just reeling you in.
Yeah. And if you ever think like, oh, I'm not big enough, no hacker would ever come to me. About once every year and a half, we have an agent that contacts us that they've been hacked and they're being held. What's it called when you're holding a hostage? Is it hostage? Okay. They'll have, and so they'll basically, what's it called whenever it's just like, you're going to pay me money for
ransom.
Ransom. So it's ransomware. And so the companies, like a hacker will say, we have taken your information. You clicked on a link you weren't supposed to because we're very good at this and we convinced you that this was real and it wasn't. Now, in order for you to get your data back, including this HIPAA compliant information, you have to pay us 10 grand, 5 grand, 2 grand, 50 grand. And we have agents, we've worked with, again, small mom and pop agencies call us every year saying, somebody's holding my stuff ransom. What do I do?
Yeah.
And so please, like, you're not ever too small for it to happen to you. Everybody's a target. Please make sure that you are protecting your data and keeping it safe. And again, reminder, this is something a lot of people don't know. Never use public Wi-Fi. If you're like at a Starbucks. Yeah,
that's a big one.
Yeah, if you're going to be like using like at a, like doing a coffee shop and doing an appointment there or something like that, just never use a public Wi-Fi. There is a way for hackers, and they do it all the time. They'll do a fake public Wi-Fi at these local places. And whenever you log onto their Wi-Fi, they have full access to everything on your computer and everything on your network.
Yeah.
So invest in a hotspot. It's 100% worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is one thing that people don't think about. And it's something where you have everything that you need on your computer. You can also fill out a lot of these. Sometimes e-applications you can do offline, right?
Yeah, a lot of them.
So you're able to still meet with them and do everything, just not using the Wi-Fi in order to do that. Because even if they're not pretending to be that Wi-Fi, let's say you go to Starbucks and you actually log in, because it's a public thing, people can hack into that Wi-Fi and then get into yours. So that's really
just
good.
don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't do it.
Invest in a mobile hotspot. It is worth it. Or just, I don't know.
Use the one on your phone.
Use the one on your phone.
Yeah,
100%.
use your cellular data from your phone.
The last point that we have today, I think I have 4. This one is just check your ROI, especially whenever we are getting so much technology added and so many top companies are investing in insurance and the senior insurance industry. It's really easy to go down the rabbit holes of like, this is the coolest thing ever. What do I need here? Oh my gosh, what have I invested in that? And there are some things, like if you're, like the best way I can say, like a rule of thumb to invest in technology is, does it replace an admin, right? Does it replace a process without replacing the personality?
Right. Exactly.
Is what it comes down to. And so there are a lot of things that, like, there's a lot of tech that I really encourage you guys to invest in. A lot of, like, we recommend them a lot of on our website. We've vetted them. We have carriers that vetted them. But, don't get caught up in having the best. Don't get caught up on having every single system, every single process. I say it all the time to our teams. Let's not out-process ourselves out of production. And it's really easy to do that when you have such technology available.
Exactly. And there's going to be people who, some of you guys are very, like, interested in tech and stuff like that. You love the new thing. Yes. So you're like, oh, this is the new thing. I'm going to go out and I'm going to get it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Wait until you actually have the need. And then also, whenever new shiny things come out, it's always good to just give it like a year.
What do they call? They have the like adapter, that there's like a sheet of like your early adapters, your adapters. They like go down to like all your people, like the people who are in line for the new iPhone. Those are your early adapters.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry.
Let them kind of figure it out. Ask around. Yes, before you go in and buy this whole thing. One thing that I think of sometimes, there's a place for certain tech. Okay, sorry, I'm switching gears and I just didn't transition very well. Okay. Kind of going back.
It's a new concept here. Of just going off on a tangent.
Kind of going back to your point of make sure it's not replacing the personality or anything like that.
Enhancing, not replacing.
Yes. There are certain times in which I would say it's good to have the option of that. So I'm not explaining this very well. What comes to mind, and I think you count this as tech, is like personal URLs.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's something where it's like that is really awesome tech. Yes, you don't want every single client to enroll through the personal URL because obviously like that
eliminates an agent.
Eliminates the agent. But that is tech tonight. Like it's nice to have the option for the people who want to do that or need to do that or whatever it may be. So it's also about finding the balance of when you're using it, when you're not. And not going overboard with one of them.
It's options. It's not about how you want to sell. It's how they want to buy, right? And so you will have people who what they want to do, and it's a growing population, or people live like, I want to shop myself. I want to look at it. I want to do my own research, and then I want to verify with my agent. So it doesn't eliminate the agent, but they can enroll themselves into these plans using your personal URL and like plan enroll. You get notified. You do all that. You get notified if they even shop, if using your link. And then, so they have the option, they have the convenience, they have the comfort of knowing that they can do that themselves, but it keeps the agent a part of the process. Right, and that's an excellent use of tech. So you're exactly right. So there's that. There's, of course, Medicare Center using of tech of saying like, yes, an agent still can meet with their clients if they want to, if the client wants it. But the technology is doing all the calculations, and the technology is tracking the scope. And it's not replacing the person, but it's replacing the process and streamlining it. So it is significant. It is... Again, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's options, it's convenience, it's replacing process, not replacing personality.
Yes, exactly.
One thing I don't think I have on here, I'm going to double check. I made these slides at the end of the day. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. I made these slides at the end of the day and I've slept since then. I had a lot of caffeine. So one thing that we didn't talk about is the use of AI. And like all the warning labels that should come with artificial intelligence.
Yes.
So artificial intelligence, AI, has a ton. There's like the famous like Terminator AI and like it's an uprising, which like I'm not saying it's not gonna happen.
Sure.
Because who knows? But there is a lot of conversation about AI and like its uses in our industry. So example, Medicare Center. Medicare Center is incorporating AI into their client management to where, for example, here's an example of like AI that's a good use for this without replacing personality, just replacing systems, where AI is going to look at any client in Medicare system, look at their prescriptions that they have, look at the plan they're currently on, will compare it to the new formularies, compare it to the new plans, and help you justify, is this a high-risk shopper or are they okay where they're at? So that you can actually be able to pull lists by, I want to talk to my high-risk shoppers first and talk to them first because I want to make sure those are my more flight-risk clients. AI is helping, in Medicare Center, is helping you determine that, right? You're still having the appointment, you're still doing all that. Here's where AI can get really dangerous. If you're using something like a ChatGPT, which like I love ChatGPT. What ChatGPT is, you give them a prompt, and it's like working with an entire marketing staff on your own. You give them a prompt, and they've come up with speeches, advertisements, wording on blog posts, entireties of that. It's really cool. It could it could really save you time, energy, and effort on some of your more marketing activities. But any prompt you put into that, you no longer own.
Yeah.
Because anything you put into it goes into the training, goes into the making the system better. So if you're putting any information you put on that, never HIPAA information, never client information. If you want to own the information, you cannot use that platform. So it is a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it can make it definitely be picky on what you use it for, but if you are someone who doesn't want to spend very much time on like some little marketing things, you don't want to, or you just feel like that's not your skill, but you're trying to do it yourself, it can be a really, really good tool. I personally, as a creative and just who I am as a person, I'm like, ChatGPT, it takes away all the creativity. People aren't working those muscles anymore in their head. Right. But there are some people where it's also like, I naturally do that. Some people don't. I can't do math, so I really love calculators.
Yes. So that's a really great point. It is. It's something that like we have to outsource our weaknesses. Exactly. Right? And so like if you can
ROI, figure out like return of investment with time.
Now, I don't also want to say, like, I don't want the marketing community to come at me because I'm a marketer at heart. I love advertising. I love marketing. I just happen to do mine through sales. Yes. But it doesn't replace a good marketer. It doesn't replace somebody who is a good wordsmith or somebody who's very creative like that. But whenever the ROI, there is like a point where it's worth it to hire somebody or outsource that versus using ChatGPT. But as you're getting to that point, ChatGPT is a great option.
Yeah, I agree.
The last one is just, again, have a backup plan. Technology, I say this all the time, I'm the world's worst millennial. Technology hates me. So you can't ever rely on it cold, rely on it completely. For example, I learned this lesson the hard way early in my career whenever I was kind of getting into public speaking. I was doing a speech at I think it was probably one of our conferences that we were putting on, and the projector went out. Yeah, the projector completely went out, and I realized I didn't have notes telling me what each slide said. I only had a few notes on like what I wanted to say per slide. So I had like, this is what I want to say on the slide, but I had no idea what the slide was. Right, exactly. So like never rely on technology fully. Always have a backup plan, paper applications, brochures, everything, because tech is tech.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Nothing to add there. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. It's not foolproof. You know what I mean? It's like it's still created by humans. So
if humans are allowed to have errors, then
exactly, the things that they create are going to.
Exactly. So going into AEP, again, we've been talking a lot. That is what we have today, the 4 warnings of using technology. You have to use it. I know we still have that on there. You have to use it. You have to I guess you don't have to, but like you also don't have to be relevant in this industry, right? Strongly encourage it. It's so funny that we did this presentation today or this series because today we had like 3 questions come to our agent resources team about like, should I use an iPad? Should I use a Windows Surface? Should I use a laptop? Should I use a tower computer? So if you guys have questions of like what product is better, we can give you our recommendations on things. I think we have some very, what's the word I'm looking for? Charged conversations internally about Apple versus Android products. I am an Android girly for life, not Android. Wow.
I was like,
excuse me. I'm an Apple girly for life. No, I get it. Because a lot of the e-applications, things like that, they're tested on an Apple product first, and then they'll release it to the Android market afterwards. But like hours later, days later sometimes. So it's not a huge concern, but there is more support, I feel like, on the
it's
Apple
like
side.
The answer is going to be completely different for everybody who calls in. So don't think that you're going to call in and we're going to try to convince you to get some sort of tech. No. It's going to be completely different because for some people, getting a certain piece of tech might speed them up. Other people, it might be like, that might slow you down a little bit. The way that your process is, the way that your brain works, all that sort of thing. And that's totally okay. Yeah. But, it all just depends on the person and how you want to run things. So
I'll say it again. I say it to my team every day. Don't process. Don't system and process yourself out of production. And
Yeah.
tech is a really going down that rabbit hole and saying like, this can make my life better. I just got to get used to it first. There is an element of that if there's a potential for it, but there's also a thing of like, are you trying to fit a square peg in a round hole?
Right,
Like, is this just not going to fit based on your clients? Is this not going to fit based on your sales style? But again, it's again, don't replace personality, replace process.
But also I want to say, don't let the fear of what can happen with technology keep you from learning it. So I think sometimes people are afraid where they're like, it could make me efficient, but right now it's not going to, because
give yourself the learning curve.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Give yourself time. It's okay if you have someone and then you're like, I just got this iPad. You're going to be my guinea pig today. We're going to try it out today.
That's such good advice.
Yes, give yourself plenty of time to
advice.
figure that out. That way, eventually, and then you've given it a chance. Maybe you get to the point where a month in, you're like, okay, no, this just isn't working for me. Toss it. Facebook Marketplace.
We just got a brand new CRM. And like, I think, depending on who you ask on the sales team, they'll have different answers. But it's like, this is hard today, but we know why we need it by AEP.
And it's already changed. From whenever we first started using it, it's already changed to people that are going, okay, once I got used to it, this is really helpful.
It is. Like, I don't have to go outside to look for this, that, or the other. It did replace some of the processes that I got used to. They weren't efficient. They're just what we did. So being open to saying, like, just because it's the way we've always done it doesn't mean it's the right way to do it.
Right. That's exactly right.
Mary asked a great question. Do we give or have presentations to give on home health care? Mary, we sure do. It's in our seminars in a box. We do have a home health care presentation in there. Just go to smsteam.net. Make sure you're logged in. Go to services, and it's seminars in the box. You should have it there. Yeah. And I think Ben's on here. So Ben, I know you work with Mary. You might shoot Mary a little email with her seminars in the box. I just realized that people, So it's a lot better than it was. Chad doesn't beat me. In fact, it's quite, well, I'm not going to say it's the opposite because this is recorded. I had an incident with a hoverboard.
Oh my gosh, tell me. Do you have a video?
I don't. And if I did, it would die with me. So I have a bruise here, and then I also have a bruise. It was not this past weekend, but the weekend before. So it's been a while. On my leg too.
It looks like a bite mark on camera, to be honest with you.
It does kind of, like right there. Like, yeah. Nope. Hoverboard incident.
Hoverboard. Ugh,
my arm became acquainted with a car door mirror.
Oh.
At an aggressive speed. This is why at 30, almost 33, you should not be on a hoverboard. But my husband's 40, almost 41, and he's gliding around.
Just takes practice and staying away from things that could hurt you.
I have time for neither.
Yes.
Any questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises? Now is the time to ask. Terry! I love Terry. Good morning. Just had someone send me information about their health company, and should I put my bank information when I have no idea who they are? P.S. I'm 76 and love technology, but AI makes me nervous. 100%. So the number one when it comes to like emails and things like that, if you are not expecting it, if you did not, like if you're like, we get this a lot, like bank companies or like credit card companies, PayPal, things like that, they'll send you links. Always, if you are not expecting it, always call to double check, because it is rare that like people will just send you something out of the blue, and it takes little to no time to just call the company and double check. Also keep in mind CMS, Social Security, Health and Human Resources will never call you. They will always letter. They don't even email. It's always letters. So it just always, do I say always weird? Always. Oh, I never knew that.
No, you do.
Always.
No, yeah, you say weird.
Oh my God. Continuing to just call and check.
Just call. Also, if there's ever anything that says this is urgent, like they need this information now, no
one's ever going to have you pay for things in Apple gift cards or Amazon gift cards either.
Right.
And it's crazy. So we were actually working, it was years ago, a guy who used to work with us, he now lives in Poland. Remember Kanan? Yeah. So he got a call from his grandma, and she was like, "Are you okay? I'm sending you money." And he's like, "Grandma, I'm great. Thank you. But why are you sending me money?" And somebody had texted her from like basically saying like
Yes,
this is
I
your
remember this.
grandson.
I remember this.
And said like I am in jail. I have to have money to get me out, and like convince this poor woman. And so she's calling all of his family and everything like that, and he's just like, Grandma, I'm at work.
Yeah.
And so like I mean they can get incredibly what's
sneaky,
my brain decided
smart with their scamming.
Remember that hamster wheel?
Yeah.
I'm sure powering a walkway somewhere. Did not answer this question. Now I feel, if Benny is old, when am I? Ancient. Keep up with amazing multitasking, old Benny. I love it.
Old Benny.
Old Benny. Perfect. Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises? Put them in the box. We've been going now for 31 minutes. We've covered all the Steves are in Canada. Hamster wheels are taking over. AI may also be taking over, but in the meantime, use it for good. The warning sayings, things to stay away from technology. What else are we being to discuss?
I think that truly covers all of it.
Join me Thursday. I will be doing a webinar at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time on our GoToWebinar platform. To watch it, go to smsteam.net, click the events tab. You can watch it. You can register for it there. But I'll be talking about Devoted. Devoted is a MedSup company. It was actually the #1 most growing MedSup, most growth and market share at MedSup, and they were only in like 13 states. They're expanding into 20 states this year. And just listening to them and learning about their why and learning about how they do it. They sell differently. It's not we have the lowest MOOP, the best benefits. It's like, no, just try our customer service. Like they have these guides. It's incredible. If you want to learn more about it, we'll see you Thursday to talk more about Devoted and how they are, honestly, not to be dramatic, but like changing the idea around healthcare.
No, they really are.
It is really
Yes,
impressive
they
what
are.
they're doing.
And I think for some people that is a little bit like, oh well, I don't want to deal with that. Like it feels like too much, but this is the AEP where a lot of people are going to be changing plans
for so many reasons.
Yes, exactly. So they might be willing to try something new out.
100%. All right, guys. So we'll see you on Thursday if you want to join me in that webinar. Otherwise, will I be here next Tuesday? I will. I will see you next Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, have fun,
make money,
and give impeccable service. Thanks, guys. You